everybody, welcome back. This is Seeking Alexandria. I'm Paige, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about, as I'm sure you guessed in the title, you smart little reading people, I'm going to talk a little bit today about chronic illness. I would like to get right out of the way. First up, I am going to try and make this video shorter, concise, because I know that there will be more of this same content to follow. But I wanted to make sure that I started including more of this on my channel, because this is the primary reason that I wanted to put myself into a position to speak to more people. So without really going into that so much, I'm just going to start by saying that what I experience and what another person with the same or different chronic illness experiences is completely different. Everything varies from one person to the next. So what I say may or may not apply to you or your loved ones. What I say might be right on the money for you. But with all that aside, I'm just going to jump in because I feel like there is a lot of content rolling around in my brain that I don't want to forget or leave out or minimize, because that's the whole point of doing this. So the first thing I really want to get out of the way is a little bit about myself. I feel like I can't go into this either in good conscience or with you guys fully understanding it if I don't tell you a little bit about myself. So as I've mentioned previously, I do have a brain tumor. It's called a macroprolactinoma, and it sits on my pituitary gland. It's non-cancerous, and basically it secretes a lot of prolactin into my bloodstream at any given time. I go through ebb and flows very, very bad with my hormones, which causes me to go through the likes of puberty, pregnancy, and menopause, all in, one hormone swift. I can have one, then the next, then the next. Different symptoms from each. Everything's crazy. And this is just a day-to-day thing for me. Now, as a result of having that, I have developed other different complications along the way. I have spinal stenosis, scoliosis, and degenerative disc disease, all of which are just fancy ways of saying I have back problems. I have fibromyalgia. They think I might have another autoimmune disease that they're not quite sure how to identify it yet. I have the start of an arthritis that they can't quite identify. I'm not quite old enough, I don't think, for it to be aged enough for them to know what it is. And I have a couple other smaller issues that they pale in comparison to everything I just mentioned. So the reason that I say all of this is, first of all, I want to say right out of the gate that there are some people that will watch this, and I want them to know that they are tried and true people in my lives. That there are friends I have that have stuck with me through so much crap I have been through personally, stuff I have put them through, things that I could never put into words or quantify how much they've meant to me. That leads me into my first point that I want to make, or my first thing I guess I want to say is I'm incredibly blessed to have people in my life that knew me before I had problems. They knew me before I had issues that limited me. They knew me in a time of my life where I could go out and go to the parties. I could go drink. I could be fun. I could stay out late. I was the life of the party. I was the fun person, or I was a fun person. I don't want to say I was the fun person, because sometimes I definitely sat on the couch and clipped coupons because that's what I thought was fun. But whatever. That's just my personality. But there are people in my life that have been there since that time period. And I feel like so many of my friends have stuck with me through all of this because they know that there's a page inside of me that's that girl. That deep down, I am still that fun-loving girl that would love to go out and would love to do things that she just can't do. And I want to say that the part of this video is to pay homage to the people that are not that blessed. The people that have had problems, whether they be mental, physical, or emotional, that have limited them from a time in their life that was so early that they didn't have the chance or the opportunity to develop good, long-lasting friendships in their life before they got sick. And I wanted to say to those of you that don't have chronic illness, that if you know people like this, search them out and let them know that you are there and that you love them regardless. Because there are days that you will get so deep and dark, just like from Grey's Anatomy, how she goes, I'm dark and twisty. There are very dark and twisty days when you have chronic illness. There are days when you hate yourself. And I'll get into that more in a second. But to think that there are people in this world that experience pain, whether it be physical, mental, or emotional, on a day-to-day basis, and they don't have a support system, is tragic to me. So find these people and love them, because they need it so much. I mean, honestly, everyone knows that the world needs a little more love, and people who can't go find love and they can't go experience love, except in very limited quantities, they need you to seek them out. They need you. Whoa, phone, calm down. I'm not talking about you. Why don't we just like shut that off for a second? Rude. Anyways, on to my next point. There are a couple other issues that I really wanted to touch on in this video specifically, that kind of segue into. And it's the concept of people who have chronic illness, mental, emotional, all of that. I know it's going to get really redundant me saying it, but I don't ever want to be the person that tries to place one above the other. Like, oh, physical ailments are way worse than mental, or no, emotional is way. No, guys, they all suck, okay? And I really want to make sure that I showcase that concept. But anyways, the point that I'm trying to get to 10 minutes ago, is that when you have one of these issues, you can't ever not remember. You can't forget. Wow, could I have been more wordy? You can't forget at any point in your day that you are in some way not able to keep up with the world. And what I mean by this is we live in a very fast-paced, very quick, very go society. And honestly, I love that. I love quick and fast-paced and go and move and business and that kind of thing. That speaks so much to my personality, but it does not speak true to what I'm able to fulfill. What happens is that we end up hating ourselves so much that it is no longer just the sickness that'll bring you down. It's how you feel you no longer fit into the world. You will feel like, and okay, you know what? Let me rephrase that. I'm not going to speak for other people because maybe other people didn't experience this. I'll just speak for myself. There are days in the last 7 to 10 years that I have felt so bad about not being able to be the person I needed to be, the person my friends needed me, the person my parents or my family needed me to be, that I felt so bad that I felt like I didn't even have a place in this world. Not like suicidally type thoughts, but just where I would actually sit and think to myself, where do I even belong in all this? Because I don't matter. I can't go here. I can't be there. I can't go, I can't make it to this person's, party, and I can't go to work because I feel like I'm going to throw up, or, I can't walk today. And the problem is that people like me will never tell you that this is going on. People like me will internalize it because we already bother the world too much as it is, right? This is all internal. I would feel like I was already too much of a burden to be even more of one. So God forbid, I'm not going to say anything else because my God, I'm already so limited. I'm already so useless. And the reason I say all of this isn't to make everyone that watches this feel like, wow, this girl really needs some love and attention. It's to let you know that you will come out of this. So if you're watching this and that's how you feel on a day-to-day basis, I implore you to first seek help. Second of all, to realize that it is not true. You have a place in this world. You have a reason to exist, and which I know is super corny, and I would never normally say it if it wasn't true. But I never thought that I would be sitting here making a video that hopefully lots of people will see to better understand an issue that at one point I couldn't even convey to myself, much less to a camera, where it goes out to how many people that are going to judge it. And I want people to realize that if you're the person sitting here that's sick and watching this, that not only do you have a place, but if anything, your place is unique. Someone needs to know you. Someone needs to understand what you're going through. People need to know that they can come out of this. If you're watching this and you don't have the mental, physical, emotional ailments, and you're watching this as an outside perspective, you need to realize that we feel bad about ourselves enough. You don't need to remind us how bad of a friend we are because we can't report to duty for you. You don't need to remind us that we are subpar. I have lost friends. I have really, really pissed off some family members. I have been kicked out of different engagements and events. I have been really ostracized in my life because I did not know my limitations. I would not accept my limitations. I would not be able to confront the real issue, which was that I am sick. And I refused to accept it. I do not want to see anyone else go down that path where you become a version of yourself that you do not recognize. That is one of the most tragic things that will happen to someone with chronic illness, is to become a person that you do not recognize. Someone who makes themselves sicker at the expense of others and their requests. Someone who minimalizes their pain because they feel like it shouldn't matter. Someone who pushes aside their own needs, beliefs, and overall well-being because other people expect them to be something that they can't be. I want this to be something that comes to you guys in a manner that's not off-putting. I don't want people, if you watch this and you're in my life and you feel like I just royally bashed you in some way, I did not. I'm saying it because I want to be anecdotal. I want to be the person that other people can look back to and go, you know what, this girl was right. Like, I do matter. I do deserve to exist. I deserve to explain to people why I can or can't do what I can and can't do. I overall deserve a voice. And the one thing I've learned in the last year of my life is that if you don't give yourself a damn voice, you will cease to have one. And that's the one thing I really wanted to stress with this video. I don't want this video to be long. I don't want it to be too drawn out. But I want to start by talking about this. I want this to be something that people understand. I want people without these problems and these ailments to understand that we do our best. I do my best. We are not all gauged by the same. You cannot look and say, oh, well, my cousin has fibromyalgia and she's just fine. Honestly, I would be so incredibly happy for her because I can't walk some mornings when I try to stand up and I fall back down. And I would be so grateful to her and so thankful that she's able to do what she's able to do, that I would never compare her to myself. I would just be thankful that she doesn't have or experience what I experience. And that's how I want people to really take and interpret this. Obviously, I can't tell you how to take and interpret things that I say, but realize that we're not all the same. And realize that if you've loved someone for so long and they're a friend of yours, and maybe like me, they develop limitations, go back and remember why you love them. The reasons. Not because of what they could do or where they could go, but the reason that you loved them to begin with. And ask yourself if that reason is still there. If they are still the funny or charming or, go-getter or the whatever that they once were. And the personality and the heart and the love that's inside that person is still there. And if it is, chase that. And remember that and help them remember that on a day when they can't remember who they are. And now the other thing I want to touch on is those of us sitting here in the chair of the mental ill or the mental or the emotional or the physically ill, you're not off the hook. You don't get to just exist and expect other people to come to you. You don't get to expect everyone to understand without doing your own fair share of understanding. I always do my best to understand people and their perspective before I expect them to understand my own. I want people to realize that I am sick. I have a lot of problems that limit me. And if a friend that's been my friend for a long time can no longer feel like I can be in their life or that they can't be in my life, I need to understand that. I need to make an effort to understand why. Maybe they can't have someone limited in their life. Maybe it's not what they signed up for. Maybe the qualities that they loved about me are gone. And it's something that it's so important to make an effort to understand them that I don't even want people to sit here and say, oh, well, if someone would hate you just because you're sick, they are a horrible person. That's not always true. What if this isn't what they signed up for? What if they don't have the capacity to love or understand? Or what if the relationship isn't the same without that one aspect of what you had? Things change as you get sicker. Things change as you move and go through life. Things change. So as the person that's ill, you don't get to sit there and hate on people that leave your life for one reason or another. You get to accept it. You get to work through it. You get to move on. You get to try and understand it. But you don't get to hate them, because in that moment that you choose to hate or be angry at them, you are ultimately no better than they are with you. That's why I have made, especially in the last year, I have had a couple friendships, quite frankly, that went to pot. They went way, way worse than I ever thought they would. And all I kept thinking through everything is that they have that right. They have that right just the same as I would have that right. And I can't expect them to be friends with someone that can't do what they need them to do, or can't be where they need them to be, that can't perform as the friend that they need me to be. So I don't want this to sound like, oh, Mr. Rogers special or anything like that. But you guys, we need to see each other from each side of the fence. We need to make better efforts to understand where we are each coming from. And I honestly think that if we can do that as a society of the sick and the well, I think that we will be able to really integrate our lives better and understand each other better. Hey guys, sorry about that. I know I look a little different. I was just going through the footage and I noticed that the outro, the camera actually died and the mic went out. So what I was saying is I am actually at a point in my life where I can talk about this kind of stuff pretty openly now. So if you guys have any questions or anything that you ever want to go over with me, you can leave a comment. You can message me privately if you're not comfortable like saying it out loud and whatnot. But please don't ever hesitate to say something, because sometimes getting advice from someone who might understand where you're coming from might help a little more than you know. I know that it helped me a lot in the past. I actually sought out people that I knew would understand what I was going through, and I sought their guidance in situations that I was in. So I just want everyone to know that I'm more than open to that. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram. You can always message me on Twitter if you ever want to talk or anything like that. Again, I'll have my information for that linked below. But I just want you guys to know that talking to people is accessible, and it is something that can be extremely beneficial. And I actually, getting that message across mattered so much to me that I actually came in. It's been a couple hours since I filmed the rest of this video, and I actually wanted to come back in. I reset up my whole shooting area and my lights and everything just so I could say that, because I feel like it is ridiculous for someone to say all of the things that I've said and then not offer any form of, help or guidance, or at least what I know from the things I've been through. So I really wanted to drive that home with you guys. But with all that being over now, I am going to actually let the video be over and get it up on the internet. So hopefully it can start helping people, I guess, as soon as possible. But yeah, I feel really happy to finally be getting this kind of content up. I hope that it finds people exactly where it needs to find them. So I will talk to you guys all later, and yeah, take care everybody. Bye. Okay, should I bring up the hair? Ooh, I probably should have dry shampooed before this. Ooh, good thing it's dark back here. Ooh. Yeesh. Maybe no one will notice. Yeah, right. Frida, if you sit tight. Oh, and I missed a chunk. Good, great, awesome. Frida, listen, Kat, between you and Frida up here, I cannot right now. Cannot handle that much sass in my life. Should I have written stuff down for this? I maybe should have written stuff down. This might be a disaster.